Right, what's up, Amazon sellers? Today I am joined by this guy, Mr. Luke Filer, aka iGen Entrepreneur, and we're going to talk about an update on his journey. And this is basically coming to the conclusion of my road trip around various, initially the UK, but now parts of Europe as well. So first things first, Luke, thank you very much for having me. Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell everyone about yourself, who you are?
Yeah, born in South Africa, moved over to the UK when I was 5, and then I suppose started up the Amazon business whilst I was at uni after first year. Did that for a while, dropped out on my second year to do the Amazon stuff full time. Did it from Australia for 6 months, got back, lockdown happened, scaled the business, used the time pretty well. And now at the stage where I'm sort of doing 60, 70K per month and pretty much just sort of sticking there. Like if you watch the previous video, that's where I was at. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Just ticking along over at sort of 2-4 hours a week spending on it. So I think that's the biggest part really for me anyway.
My God, that is insane. Now, if you want to see, I'll drop the previous video up there so you can have a look at that if you want to. 60, 70K, 2 to 4 hours a week. You having a laugh? Was that real?
Yeah, no, it's pretty real. Like then it's the thing, it's not an overnight thing. It's taken time to get there. But for me, I actually did a podcast episode on this point, or one of these were the points. And the idea is that really it's all about setting those goals and then doing something each day to get towards it. And I think it's the idea of not overestimate what you can do in a day, a week, a month, but not underestimate what you can do in like a year, 5 years, 10 years. So for me, that's what I really did, and tried to not get overwhelmed, because I think it is so hard to get overwhelmed. And I had a person message me the other day and it's like, oh, you're so lucky to be in Gran Canaria. I'd love to kind of do that. And it's like, one more, you can, but you also, they're like, oh, I'm really worried that I won't be able to get to that level kind of thing. Like when I started, I never had like this figure in mind. I just had my goals then. And I never planned on dropping out of uni, doing it full time. It just, you're going to have those long-term plans, but they're going to change. And ultimately it's just doing the small things to get to them. Yeah. But yeah.
My God, and hey, he just dropped another bombshell there. You're not in, where are you from?
Born in South Africa, living in the UK, but at the moment in Gran Canaria.
So he's actually, if you want to know, he normally lives in the Wirral near Liverpool. Obviously, I've met him up there before. And it is, I thought it was really good fun. But obviously, you said you are not only doing 70K, not only are you doing it in 2 to 4 hours a week, but you're right now on obviously an island on the west coast of Africa, Gran Canaria. And obviously, I'm here as well. And you might kind of ask, where are we right now? Well, technically, we are in Luke's apartment. He has invited me in, and hence filming this video. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for sharing. And hey, I'm out here as well, so I'm quite enjoying it. Thank you for the business trip, the expense that obviously I can expense to come meet him. But I think well done to you. I think first things first. That's a lot of people look at that and say, wow, that's maybe that's where they want to get to. Maybe that's a stage in their life, a goal that they want to achieve. And I think yourself achieving that, fantastic. Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
I'm 22.
22. My God. Can I ask, what do your friends think? What do they think of you?
Friends?
Obviously, like your school friends, what do they think?
No, it's a weird one, because if you look at my sort of Facebook profile, you'll see that I share a lot of my profile, and I was very, very nervous to do that, to even start doing that. And I've not had any negative feedback. I've had like one comment, maybe 1 or 2 funny comments from people I don't really know that well, like from old high school or whatever. But apart from that, if I've had any feedback, it's been super receptive. And like when I go and play cricket, I don't get anyone who's like, oh, why are you posting about that shit or whatever. They don't treat me any differently, really. And if anything, I mean, it's not like something I'd look for, but maybe a little bit more respect from. It's weird, like on the cricket people a bit older, which is strange. But then from people around my age and my friends, I haven't found it change that much, but I haven't really like spoken to them about it. But there are people who have been interested in it and have sort of messaged me, and a couple people have helped, and they've sort of got started, which is funny. Like at the cricket club, there's now like 3 or 4 people in the team who are doing it, which is interesting. But yeah, it hasn't had much of an effect, and like they don't really mention it, to be honest. And if they do, it's kind of just like, wow, that's really cool kind of thing, and then you just carry on with life.
And if you don't mind, I think your mum and your dad, they're the kind of people like, oh, my Luke, he's going to university, he's studying finance, he's going to be really good in a big corporate, and they're like, you're what? You're leaving, and you're now starting this own business up, and now you're traveling the world. That's a bit different.
when I sort of said to them that like, yeah, I wanted to drop out of uni, there was not so much resistance there, but I think they always had my best interests at heart, and they were like, well, just from their point of view, they sort of thought it made the most sense for me to carry on. But as soon as I went and spoke to a few people about it that sort of they respect as well, got their thoughts. And I think once I did that and they could see that I was making a sort of informed decision, they were 100% behind me as soon as I said I wanted to do it. I think they were maybe a little bit disappointed at the start, but they've always been super supportive. And like, I say this because they moved us as a family from South Africa to the UK when I was 5. And look, I'm not saying there's no opportunity in South Africa, but I think a lot of people would agree that there's more opportunity in the UK than in South Africa, and just from safety, racial both ways. You need to look at sort of statistics to back that up. That's an unbiased sort of view there. Then the opportunity, and then to give you another example, like when I was in year 9 UK going into year 10, so what's that, like sort of 14, 15, I got offered a cricket scholarship, but it was only sort of 50% for a private school. And my mum and dad sort of managed to sort of pay up the rest with a bit of a bursary, because we're not like a hugely well-off family, very middle class, but they've sacrificed that to then allow me to go. And sort of when I was like 15, 16, my dad's been giving me access to his PayPal to do like other little things online. Like I was playing online poker when I was like 17 and selling virtual game currency when I was like 15, 16. And he's always been, or my family have always been super supportive. So yeah, I think the only thing was the university, but now, travel wise, like they're supportive. And then when I come like over April till September, I was with my family. My brother was at home as well, home from university. So yeah, been really supportive and really grateful, I suppose.
Wow. So obviously definitely an entrepreneurial spirit, or doing lots of things, but also a really supportive family that's helping you on that journey as well. Yeah,
I think I've been really fortunate in that respect, because my mum and dad had never done anything sort of entrepreneurial wise. So I guess it's strange in that respect, but they've 100% support me along the way.
It's a question for you. If anyone's watching right now, maybe they're in a situation whereby, maybe they're in university, maybe they're not enjoying it, or maybe they've just finished university and they're thinking, do I go get my first job? Do I maybe start this business idea? You've been through that. A lot of people may be disheartened with the way university might not lead on to the job of their dreams. And then maybe they're thinking, what kind of advice would you give to them?
I think it's a really tough one, because I would say like university, for one, it's really fun. I found like the social aspect, and not even just from the course, but from like a social networking point of view, meeting people, meeting these friends, it's great. And like the thing is for me, like working by yourself, it's like not the most social. So from there, and then from, if you're not sure, like there's no reason why you can't do both to at least to start. And like for me, I was getting to the point where like, I wasn't making loads of money from it, but I was sort of doing around 15, 20K revenue a month. And so I was sort of making enough that, well, I was living with my parents. They were happy for me to live there. I had a car, but that was about it. Like, as what I'm saying is, if Amazon went tits up, so what? Like, what's the worst case? I could go back to university. I could carry on. I'm pretty sure, like, I can't say this for fact, but if you were sort of in university, finished your first year, decided you wanted to drop out and do Amazon, and it didn't work out, and you turned around to them and said, yeah, I was running a business and this is what I kind of learned. And like, are they really going to not let you back in? And if not, well, there's going to be a university that does. And like getting a job after you graduate, well, it's like, well, you can probably do both, but if it's something you really want to do and you're passionate about running your own business, which I think you need to really look hard into, because it is very glamorized, and if you haven't done it, you probably should before you just jump into saying, I'm going to go all guns blazing and that kind of thing. But if you've done it for a while and you think this is what you really want to do, well, one, you can probably do it alongside having a job, at least to start. But two, look at sort of, well, what are your expenses and how are you going to cover that if things go wrong? Because as an entrepreneur, you need to sort of have a contingency plan. But if you're like living with your parents, you just finished university and you've not really got a mortgage, you've not got a family, children, whatever, you're in such a lucky position. So, and that's what I am, because if it goes tits up, so what? So it's a really tough one. It's a personal situation, like most things are, but I think really people deep down will know truly what they think. And it's something where I'd sort of, if it is worrying you, like it was for me, go and speak to as many people as you can that you respect, that have gone and done it, see what they say and weigh that up, and ultimately give yourself a deadline. And then I'll probably just stick to it, otherwise you'll be thinking about it forever. And I think the one thing I would say is that, well, if you're always thinking about it and you never do it, you're probably going to have regrets. But if at least you try it, you can probably go back and you're probably not going to regret something you tried. At least I haven't so far.
Oh, this is a Tinder profile photo. What do you do in your spare time? Sleep? Surf?
Yeah, so I touched on it, and a lot of what time I'm spending at the moment is, I guess umbrella would be like personal brand, but really a lot is on learning. So I'm doing a lot of sales and marketing. I've got a training program for online arbitrage, and that takes not so much time to run it because it's fairly leveraged. And by that, I mean, it's a lot of it's like pre-recorded or once a week group coaching. Support's very structured, but it's more around there, like, how do I make things better for existing clients? And then also, how do I bring new clients into that? And so that's something where I've been spending thousands of pounds and probably thousands of hours now on building that out, the sales and the marketing. And it's something that I'm really enjoying learning, not just for this, but it's a long-term skill. And this is what it comes back to, those things like prepping. It's not really a long-term skill, whereas what I'm doing now, I think is going to give me benefit in time to come. So to answer the question, spending a lot of time working, even though it's not on the Amazon business, but it's a lot on new things, which I'm really enjoying. And then also a bit of time like meeting up with people, gym, going out on the beach every so often. I mean, it literally, you could probably hear it sometimes, the waves. It's a 2-minute walk away from where I am. And yesterday I was just like, there was no wind, it was a nice day. I'm just going to go for a swim, break the day up a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it though. Nothing super exciting at the moment.
If you don't know, obviously I've been out here as well with Luke for some time now, and you know we went out. I think it was last week or maybe the week before. I think it was like the week before. We took a car, drove around the island, had it was a full day, wasn't it? It was it was a really lovely day, and obviously we're in the west coast of Africa, and it's nice. It was a really pleasant journey. Go see. I'll share some videos. Obviously you'll see them already. But it was really, a really nice experience, just kind of getting out and doing different things. Before you talked about, you're doing training, you're developing, and obviously you've learned a lot in your journey. Yeah. What is this training? Tell me about that.
What I learned from my experience from going through a couple of courses for Amazon and other courses, to be honest, I found a lot of it was what it felt like the person who created it just took all the information they have and dumped it into a bunch of videos. And so I didn't really like that format because one, it was kind of overwhelming, not very actionable, and you didn't really get any then support through it. So I tried to create something whereby I had the core video training, which I think you need, try to make it as actionable and sort of ABC, like step-by-step as possible. But then I also added what I call making it hard for it to not work. And what I mean by that is I then have a group training. So every week there's like a group training, and there's also accountability. And then there's also a bunch of other things. So like I throw in deals, I throw in like over the shoulder analysis on me and my senior VA, those kind of things where it's like, what are people going to be struggling with? And then I try and solve that by adding in these things. So that's the one thing I developed. And then more recently, as you know, I then put together, I'm like, okay, well, not everyone's going to pay for this. So what can I do to help more people? And so I put together a free guide, and you've seen me working on this. I've probably the last 2 or 3 months, a lot of time working on this guide, and I've taken the hundreds of £1,000s over the past 2.5 years or whatever, and the countless hours, and tried to wrap it up into the best way I can summarize that into a free guide. And like total transparency, this is me trying to give you as much value as possible. So then if you like, great, this is awesome, you consume more content, and eventually you might want to become a client if you're a good fit and we're a good fit for you. So ultimately, look, if you want to check out the free guide, I think chuck a link in, drop a link below. Yeah. Free guide, there's no obligation or anything, but yeah, hopefully that is useful. And that's what I've been working on for quite a lot of time at the moment, but it's eventually done. Yeah,
hey, if you want to know, I've actually spent the last month living with Luke, and And we've been up at the crack of dawn. And by that, I mean, we've been up working, or Luke's been up working for probably a good couple of hours, and then the sun's come up. So it shows you that it's just been like non-stop work. And it has been every day guide. So his heart and soul has been poured into this, and his knowledge has been poured into it. And what he's learned, my God, 70K, couple of hours a week, that's insane. Like literally, and at 22, oh my God, that is next level. So honestly, I take my hat off to you. I think very successful, very early age. And I think also, we talked about it. The one thing that you do very well is the fact that you assimilate information and then create an actionable steps from it. And that is very evident in what you've achieved as a person. And so if anyone's thinking about maybe looking at Amazon, thinking about starting Amazon, starting this journey, I'd definitely have a look at that guide, have a look at it. He has put his heart and soul into it. So honestly, lots of information in there, have a look at it. And also, maybe you are thinking about taking the next step. That's going to help you make that decision. And maybe you're going to see, is Luke the right person you want to work with? So have a look down below. That's going to be really useful for you. So Luke, obviously that's what you've been spending a lot of your last time on. You kind of touched upon it earlier. Outside of all of this, what's the plans for the future? What are you going to be doing going forward?
Funnily enough, I had a call, and I think my plans might already be scuppered, but I've been building up to go back to Australia sort of around September next year. And I just had a call with someone who says they think they've closed the borders until the end of next year already. For those who don't know, Amazon, Australia tends to freak out if they've had 2 cases or something. They're the whole country goes into shutdown. But yeah, not looking good. So for me, the plan is really focusing on the training front, I think. But besides from that, I really want to travel, experiment, try new things, which I'm kind of sharing on the podcast a lot. But it's that, for me, it's about personal development a lot, growing the business, but then just trying to develop in all areas of life. So not just the business, which I've talked about a lot here, but for me, there's kind of 7 core pillars, and I'm trying to work on all of those. And ultimately, longer term, yes, I've got a few goals there, but I think it's really about having those goals. And as I mentioned, trying to do something every day or every week towards each of those 7 pillars for me. And if I'm working towards them, great. And then it's about being flexible along the way. So what's in store? I'm not too sure. I'm here until the 19th of December. Then I'm going back home for Christmas. 1, to spend Christmas and New Year's with my family, but 2, to make myself more grateful for this by remembering how shit the weather is in the UK. And then after that, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe Mexico. Yeah, we'll see.
And my God, if you've come this far since I've known you, which has only probably been 2 years, I think. Where is he going to be in even a year's time? That is going to be interesting. So I look forward to hearing about that. But Luke, if anyone wants to get in contact, what's the best way?
Yeah, probably through Facebook profile. I'm sure Thomas can link it down below. Otherwise, Luke at iGenentrepreneur.com always works if you can spell it right.
Or your YouTube, and I'll drop a link to his YouTube up there. So obviously you can link to his channel and see his YouTube channel as well. Luke, from me and everyone watching, thank you very much.